because that really does pinpoint a bit of your personality in some way.
Yeah, I mean, this is a true story. It figured in a little bit to Rejects, but I just remember one time, I don't remember how old I was pretty young, and we were in the backyard playing. You know, we lived on a pretty normal, typical suburban street, and suddenly it became a David Lynch movie. We're like, what is this screaming we hear? And we run out to the front of our house, the sprinklers are going, it's Sunday afternoon, and there's this fat, naked guy who had just been stabbed multiple times running down the street. And instead of thinking we should help him, or this is so horrifying, we just kind of watched him, amused, like he was on TV, happening on TV. So I think we are desensitized to violence from watching so much television, and that's sort of inspired this because it seemed so much freakier that it was happening in broad daylight.
Yeah.
I was like, oh good, murders look good in the daylight.
How old were you?
I don't know, I was in 8th grade maybe. I know my brother was a little younger, he was a little more freaked out than me.
And so since then, has anything ever freaked you out?
I'm sure things have freaked me out, but, I don't know. Things like that don't bother me. I've seen a lot of that. I mean, amazingly, when I was younger, I lived in New York in the early 80s when it was like the Wild West, the amount of horrible things I saw, people just beaten to a pulp by the police, or dead bodies, or people getting stabbed, and it just doesn't bother me. I know that's a sick thing to say. Sheri's the exact opposite. You'll probably make it yourself.
I'm talking about what you're saying.
I know, I'm sorry. It's like...
How do you find that then? Because there's obviously this theme which I adore. I've always found, the Munsters, what a sexy family. Wow, couldn't they be my parents? Kind of thing. And then as you get older, there is this theme of cool, horror, fun. It's more about fun. I find, from a musical sense with you and the video clips and all that sort of stuff. But if you were genuinely, Sheri, get affected by stuff, being in films where you're playing characters who perpetrate what you're terrified about, how do you deal with that? I mean, I know it's acting, but how do you deal with it when you're thinking about stuff and you're playing that?
Well, most of the time it's playtime. There are certain scenes that I've done in movies that really affect me. I know in House of Thousand Corpses, when my character had to stab the girl in the bunny suit, that was really hard for me to do. And now I'm still friends with her to this day. I love Austin. In this, I don't remember. This was just a really hard shoot. I mean, I cry when I see, someone getting injured on the news and they replay it. I hate violence